Otherwise, what do you do? I'll go accept the thing.
Okay, where's the camera on here?
I don't know why it's not showing unless, is that marked out or
Spotify,
no?
Java, Skype, Google Chrome, Reflex on video, Bluetooth, Samsung. I don't know what that is. Okay, where is this cam?
Maybe, is that not it? No, that's your screen. Why is it not? It's still a hangout.
So somewhere I gotta start the camera. Why is the camera?
I mean, because it's not, oh, this one's covered up, but still, that should be black if that was even, and that light's not on. Let me go look and, let me go join.
I know, it looks like it, yeah, right? I can hear everybody, but I can't see. I'm seeing that
Okay,
picture
I
you
just
saw.
did it. That's what you do it wherever. I just did settings.
Wow, that is such a great picture, even in this rain. You need something bright instead of
We have our system implemented again. Um, I'm meeting with people, you got email about me signing them up and helping them. You have three options to do, basic options to do hard contract. First one is transaction desk. And guys, I had somebody actually yesterday talk to me about transaction desk, and it works, if it works. And it satisfies you, don't worry about it. If you look for an option, we have options. If you want to carry a pack around in the back seat of your car, go to InfoForm, download the pack, safely, and there's no cost you feel good about it. But you have to have your name at the bottom of all of the pages. Now, in saying that, transaction list, InfoForm, it will have your name at the bottom of that. Don't have to worry about it. Again, if you can know, that's fine. If you want to use from on your laptop, the system that we have set up, if you want to use it on your laptop, if you want to use it on your iPad, I'll be having some more workshops, classes. I'm having some today to get people set up. They are formatted, because like they've been in the last year, I think the third year I've done it. Third year, they are formatted. The only thing is, one of the great benefits to me of having it on the iPad and the system and on the laptop, you can pre-populate. You can pre-populate special scripts, you can pre-populate these things, but all of us have been in business, any length of time, you got stuff to take care of the spot, put it all on. You can go in there on your laptop or your iPad, pre-populate the template, When you're doing that, you need to remember, you need to put your name on the bottom of the first page of that particular document. For example, on the purchase agreement, you put your name at the bottom of the first, that's the 9 pages. I set it up for a complete, all 9 pages. You don't have to go in there and remember to do it on the bottom. But please, I can't emphasize enough, if you use our system, go in there and put your name on the bottom of the page. Each form. Purchase agreement, disclaimer, put them on there. Now, our form, and I had this question, this week twice actually. Our form, the listing agreement, our, representative and all, does not have that on there. They're our form, they're not our form. Now, our form, listing, I had, for some reason, there's been confusion this week on our listing form. We have a Coldwell Banker listing form, with 3 pages long. And anybody look at the car listing form, it's 9 pages long. It's basically, all it is a purchase agreement tweaked a little bit for a listing. It has almost everything that a purchase agreement has. So Tom and I sat down and we pulled the actual listing stuff that was in it and added it to our listing agreement, which is our 3 pages to show that. You want to talk to, I see some from other offices, you want to talk to your broker, I feel that Fred would prefer to use in ours, so I don't think we should keep wrong, or either one or some disclaimers, and have the affiliation document. Talk to your broker, if you choose to use the 9 page one, talk to your broker. I don't know how you're going to do that. But I'm not going to keep you from it. But again, I can't emphasize enough, if you're using our process, our form, please promise me you'll go in there and type it over the box. And if you do that right off the bat, when you're doing the formatting, I did mine the other night, and right when you go in there formatting them, and putting the special sticks and stuff in there, you go in there, I even sign mine. My signatures are on my boxes. I'm very glad to do so. I know it's quite an action. I'm not down there and you send it out. Just make sure you do that and it's done. You don't have to worry about it. Finish. And they'll probably come to it. You said it out loud, did I? Yes, sir.
I was looking to fill agreement. I didn't put my name. I wrote on about it because I didn't put my name on the first training.
If you work within transaction manager or instant form, it does. You don't have to worry about it. It's our system. You have to be sure that you put your name in. And so I will have those. I'll actually put those in IQ office. I know it's an agent for some office that actually put them on IQ office. They'll be in there now. The thing about using on the iPad, I mean on the laptop, well, the iPad as well, the laptop, iPad, or phone from IQ office. If you email them from there, and people use iPad, and don't talk about it, you've got to slap it before you send it. You got to go through a slapping process, or the other party will either pick one or the other, edit it, or both. So you want to make sure that you do that, there's a process, and we actually did this before iPad for that. And we actually have a program out there, and we get more details, so you know it's called Primo. It's a further PDF. It is a PDF. It's a further. It saves you a lot. I've had it film with the pay they can edit it. Yes, they can. It's the full process, and it's the process. So make sure if you're doing that, make sure you either print it or save it to Primo or save it to the laptop. So that will work into, we'll talk about that in class. There was really no change in the contract. They had to resend and saying that it tells stuff about it. So you're aware your seller does have to keep it. Listen, I'm gonna turn it over to you. Thank you for coming. Listen's got a lot of really interesting big things. I'm excited about what's going on. I'm gonna turn it over to you, and I'll get you started here. Here,
So, are you taking?
I have no idea.
hey, you can tell me.
I installed this 2 minutes before he got started. I don't have a clue.
For those of you that I've not met, I'm Elizabeth Hart, and I'm your liaison to Global Banking. And that's okay. I'm very good at introducing myself. And I actually have been with Global Banking one from the inception. So I hope you guys affiliated. I won't say from the inception, because Doris has been around a long time, but I can say it's affiliated with Global Banking. So I've worked with you for a while, and it's really good practice. And I love doing this week. Tim and I are kind of starting our annual educational tour. We did this last year, and I'm going around to all the offices. And it's really an opportunity to get to know you, get to know what Global Banker brings to the table. And we are doing a lot of changes. I've been with Global Banker since 1992. I have never seen so many changes at one time. And so when I tell you that I'm learning the system, just like you're learning it, I'm very serious about this. I'm still, from yesterday, we've had scenarios that I hung together to do and help me what can happen. So, you know, I think actually the last office was probably the better class because we get questions out of it and I get them all answered so I can deliver them to you. So this is what I refer to as a safe environment. This is not a, I am going to do a presentation, but if I want you to stop, ask questions if you don't understand something, because you're going to have to really kind of get the various scenarios that we're going through. There are no bad questions. I mean, I want everybody to feel comfortable and stop and you just raise your hand and I'll ask you. So, and I'm going to ask you some questions to get a gauge of your involvement with Global Banker. And that's not Global Banker Barnes system because they have phenomenal systems. And the pieces are Global Banker National. And it's one of the 6 we're over there, but I just keep talking to them so you guys get up and get coffee or whatever. So anyway, let me ask you, how many of you have been on Global Banker work since labor? I have a few. Okay. All of you have received a Global Banker user ID. We call it credential. You received email. One would have been your user ID, and that's typically your first name dot last name at Coldwell Banker. Unless you have a name like John Smith, then you're going to be like John.Smith123 or something. So that would be your credentials if you will log on to Global Banker work. And then you have a password. If you don't remember your password, what do you do when you go into other websites and you have your password? You do what? Yes, you say forgot password. So that's what you're going to do with us. You're going to say forgot password. They're going to ask you to enter your email that you use to log on, and then they're going to send you a reset. They're going to reset it to where you can assign yourself a new password. Nobody has this information but you. So there used to be a button that the admin would say, call Rick to get my password. And that, so I was able to delete all those files out because this is just you. We went to what's called a single sign-on system, and you'll see why that's important. You're going to use the same user ID and password to log in your anything with that. And that you'll have work and you'll have globalbanker.com consumer site. And so it's very important. We had to ratchet up our security system. We have not changed it. We hold all of our affiliate banking information. We hold all of our marketing and financial information. And just to tell you how bad it was, when we did this, I was using the very same sign-on sign it in 1996. And I was using the same password for the last 7 years until I had Grey Rock. So they told me I was a prime candidate for hacking our system. So you will have to change your password every 90 days. No, that's wrong. Don't think that. I got to take it. And you know what? Well, then you need to get the system to where you will. Because I have to, like, you're going to get this figured out. You're going to be January of 2015, or you're going to be February of 2015. You're going to get a system to where you will remember. It'll be winter or summer or fall or child's birthday or due or something that you will remember. And the thing that's so nice about it is it doesn't have to repeat you when you come to it. Because if you can't remember your password, you just set without password, it will let you reset. So start using something that you will remember. And after today, I hope you will see me work with that. So we want to talk about how innovative Coldwell Banker is. Google started in 1998. Coldwell Banker started their website in 1990. So we were 2 years before Google. So we've always said the reason that you guys partner with us is because we try to look at what the consumer wants, and we do it. You don't have to worry about the print. Let us worry about the print. You do what you do best, which is listen, sell, road. Okay? So, and I know it was 1996 because I happened to be the trainer in Atlanta for NRT. And how many of you have been in business since 1995? Hey, remember that thing called NLS? Well, the NRT policy is when we have a bad message, give it to the trainer and let them deliver it to the agents. And so I had the joy of telling 2,500 agents that all their information was now going to be published on our website. So, and they were like up in arms. You guys remember those days, don't you? When we used to hold on to it, then we said it's all going to go to the website. So that's from New Orleans, I remember it well. So we have now done another cutting edge thing, and it's our digital podcast on ColdwellBanker.com. Has anybody been to our new national site? Okay, well, I'm going to say change on you, so hopefully you can go there now. And when I used to train, I always say eyes up here, but now I'm like wanting to see the top of the head, because I know you guys are doing exactly what I'm asking you to do, so I don't care. So on your iPad, your phone, or whatever, you know, and I know you're going to be taking email on top of it, maybe you'll be doing some of what I'm doing as well. So, you know, I understand being in a meeting. So let's talk about this. This is our new website. Regardless of how you get to ColdwellBanker.com, whether you're on a phone, a tablet, or desktop, it's going to have the same look. And so you'll notice if you're on, ideally everything is landscape because houses work better in a landscape position versus a portrait position. So for instance, if you're on a desktop, it's automatically going to load on a landscape. Tablets are going to load in a landscape. On your phone, obviously, because it's space, it's going to load initially a portrait, but then if you turn it sideways, it has a landscape. It does, if we didn't write something for Apple, it just works on Voice, it works on anything. So that's the beautiful thing about it. Notice the gray property in the back. You guys have an opportunity to submit your listings to us to go on your carousel process. Okay? Each of your managers yesterday received a communication from me that has a photo submission form. If you don't want to go to your manager, you can go to Coldwell Banker Work and you can type in the search bar photo submission. And it allows you to submit photos of your listing for us to put on the carousel. Why is that important? What we have done is we've divided the country into 3 sections. So it's north, south, and west. And the IP address of a consumer is going to determine what they see in front of you. So, in other words, if you're in Nashville, Tennessee, you're not always looking at stuff in Malibu, California. Okay? Now, right now, you probably will be, because we don't have as many photos as we want. We're changing these photos out monthly. But the more we get, we'll be doing it weekly. Does anybody submit listings for preview? You do? Okay. So anyway, when you submit listings for the preview website, that's what happens. They try to get a good mix of international architectural styles. And guess what? You don't have to have, it can be a phenomenal view. So if you go to our website now, I think you're going to see one that's just a view and there's no house on it. So please make this part of what your marketing practice is submit your listing for. Anything over 200,000, 300,000 in there that really is a great exterior front, do that. Has to be high resolution, and on that photo submission form, it'll tell you exactly what they need. But include that. Don't tell your sellers that will be on the website for notified. Like we do. But you can submit them and actually let them know it. We know that 64% of the sellers will work with a company that allows them. Is that what we have to do? I'm going to walk around next to the Lord. So we know sellers would work with us if they could participate in the process. Could they add content to the website? Now, here's going to be my next question. I heard yesterday, it was really an eye-opener for me. Millennials are now overtaking the baby boomers. So, how many people do I have in this room that's been born in the country? Anybody? There's one. There's two. Okay. But there's Jerry. Jerry, I heard you were the flower generation. I'm a baby boomer, and then you have the Gen X and the millennials. It's everybody in this room is on real estate for any length of time. I know when I told sellers actually did the listing, sellers would say, "What can I do to help? Is there anything I can do to help you?" And it was always on you to make sure the property got marketed and got sold. Well, now we're going to let them participate in promoting their property, and we find that this younger group of people, they like that collaboration. Is that true? You like working in groups and doing brainstorming? I mean, they won't talk to me. So we know that collaboration process, working with buyers and sellers, is much more successful than just falling on your shoulder to do it. You, however, are going to be in the center of all communication that happens with your buyers. We're not going to let them communicate directly to the website and input directly to the website. It's all going to go through you. And I'm going to show you how that works. So the next slide you're going to see is going to be a story about a homeowner and how they're moving into retirement and having a lifestyle change, and then how a younger family is having a lifestyle change, and how it just fit together, utilizing some of that stuff. Oh, I have no sound. We tested out yesterday in Murfreesboro. I'm going to go back and see if I can do that. It's so much better with sound now.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim. So that story actually, that video actually shows how two people are put together from the emotional happening of the story and the photos. And some of you may have experienced this, but I know personally, when I was going through a divorce and had to find a new place to live, I bought a small home in a very nice neighborhood, and the family had lived in this home for 40 years. And when I put my offer in, there were 3 additional offers. And most of the other 3 were for it to be an investment property. And the family selected me because I was going to raise my family there. So stories have a powerful draw. Buying and selling homes is emotional. And that's why we're saying, hey, sellers, you know your home better than we do. You think about it. Right now, when you're listing properties, you have no trees. I mean, no leaves on the trees. It's pretty barren. And so they have pictures of it blooming in the springtime and everything that they can submit. And they can show where the property has its best features. They can capture that sunset. And so we're going to let them put that on the site. So when you look at the apps, I want you to see whether you're a buyer, a seller, an agent, or you're both. You're going to see the very same screens, but it's going to have different numbers. So if you look at the buyer, the top of it all has the search function, okay? The buyer says, hey, I've looked at 7 properties and I've got 48 searches. The seller has 1 listing, and then they have various comments and activity there. The buyer and seller, again, I have 1 listing, but I have several activities. And then as the agent, you're going to see your listings and your comments and activities. So your buyer, your seller is going to have an account, and all of this is done on the consumer site. So I don't want you to get confused. This is all done on coldwellbanker.com, okay? And so the seller is going to have an account, the buyer is going to have an account, and the agent is going to have an account, okay? So let's walk into that and see how that works. So here are our happy sellers. And so I'm like, where is the organizer? I really did try to go find a better picture of this, but this is what was said. And I said, you know, that kind of is a story in itself. And that says they really do need us. So here's what's going to happen. The sellers go to coldwellbanker.com. And if you'll notice at the bottom, it says, are you the homeowner? So you think about this, when you put a property on the market and it hits the website, now Nashville could be different, but do your sellers typically go and check out and see if your information is correct?
Sure.
Okay, and if it's not, who's the first phone call? It's you. So this is what's going to happen. They're going to say, okay, I'm checking out my listing, and I'm using Justin because remember that single sign-on that I said nobody had? I had to call people and say, would you trust me enough to give me your user ID and password? And so since Justin was on Monday, he was the lucky one that got the card. So anyway, the nice thing about our new website is when they find your listing, your profile page is going to be side by side with that listing. So they're always going to have information about the agent when they get to your listing. So they don't have to look for you, but they're going to ask you, are you the homeowner? And a pop-up box is going to come in, yes or no. And if you click yes, then it's going to go into Justin's dashboard, into his account, and he has to verify that, yes, you are the homeowner. So only the homeowner is going to be able to add information about their listing. This is a house, Felicity Huffman and William Macy. We had their house listed in Colorado. And here's kind of the way it went. These are some photos they uploaded. They uploaded videos, they uploaded photos, and then of course they saved it, and it would go to that. It would go into their dashboard, into the queue for the agent to approve. They also, what happens here is when those photos, it says pending approval, and then it's going to say photo by homeowner. So our website, coldwellbanker.com, is going to be rich in content that we are not going to distribute to Zillow and Troya and Realtor.com. They're going to have to go to coldwellbanker.com to get this additional information. And I can tell you, consumers, they keep wanting more and more information before they make a decision. They cannot have too much information. So we think this is something, we give every single thing away as far as data, And so now we're not going to do that on the coldwellbanker.com site. Okay, so it's gonna have that content that they're going to get from somewhere else.
Does that alert you when
Yes.
they?
It's going to go into your phone. It's going to say you have an activity from, the Macy's to approve. And here's what happens. So they've written a story about how they did houses, they raised their kids, and parties at their house and how they raised their kids there. So when they hit submit, this little email in the green says, job well done, waiting for pending approval. So in other words, when they hit submit, it almost instantaneously goes to your device, your mobile phone or your iPad. It's going to, wherever you're going to get your email. It's going to go in there and you can actually look at it and approve it right there. So let's talk about the seller a minute. So I have gone to all this work, uploading videos and pictures, and I've written a comment. My thought is, the way this is going to work is the seller is immediately going to call you and say, hey, Elizabeth, I just put this on your queue to be approved. When are you going to approve it? I don't think sellers have a lot of patience. Do you guys? And so they're going to want you to approve it. Now, what if it's terrible? What are you going to do? This is called interaction. What are you going to say to them? Do what?
We edit?
You cannot edit it, no. This is where you're going to have a conversation with the seller. So this is.
Submit it to David Bond.
Submit it to David, let David do it. No, but
Approved.
This is why I say you guys have a job, okay? You know what works, you know what is legal, you know if they violated fair housing. That's your job. This is what you get paid to do, is to know this information. So you are to coach them in getting a better comments or to getting better pictures, okay? So that's why we're making it go through you, okay? So you will have that collaborative experience.
Hey, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Let me just say something about that. That really is a good place to exercise some training and stuff with your sellers. Even just a comment like, fantastic, I'm glad you got that in there. I'll give you a call. I want to look at it real quick and make sure that we might can do that would enhance it. I'll run it by our marketing department and let them take a look at it, and I'll get right back with you. Yep. Just something simple like that. That way you prepare them for possible changes if they need to be.
Perfect comment.
You let them know that we're running it by our marketing department, and you may be the marketing department, or marketing may be the marketing department. But you let them know that, you get another piece in, it shows your professionalism, and it can be as simple as that.
Yeah, and doing it that way, and that's a wonderful suggestion. I'll be using that tomorrow. So if you're not with me tomorrow.
I'll send you an invoice.
Okay, but that also buys you some time. Remember, we talked about the sellers not being patient and they want you to immediately hit approved. Well, by using the comment that David just said, I'm going to run it by our marketing department and make sure there's not a way that we can enhance what you've submitted. Then that gives you a little bit of time to really review it. But they're going to want an immediate answer, and you will post it. Because if you don't, you're going to have a very rocky road with the sellers during the rest of your listing. They're saying, hey, I want to jump on this bandwagon. They're not going to look to you to stop the process. Okay? So now we're...
I'm sorry.
No,
Maybe they
fine.
can modify it at any point in
Yes.
time. They could go in and
They can go back and add.
for weeks. And
They can send you a picture every day. Okay? Isn't that delightful? But the good news is that that's good. The more content that's in there, the better. All right? And especially if it's coming from the seller, and again, we're identifying it, and we're not sharing it with other realtors. Okay? So when they go onto the site and they look at the listing, there's going to be content that's been added by the homeowner. So, all right. We're moving out of our seller hat, and we're going to move into our buyer hat. Okay, so buyers, here's what happens. This site already identifies me. I can't log on now without it recognizing me as a buyer. So once you set up your account, if you'll look at the top where the little 1 is, you'll see to the left of that it says My Profile. Can everybody see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it says, welcome back, Elizabeth, and I hit the menu bar, which is the 3 bars to the right, and when I do, it's going to open up my account, so to speak. Now, keep in mind, I'm a buyer. Don't look at me as an agent right now. I'm a buyer. So I know on my dashboard, there's one activity that has happened. So once your buyers set up an account on this site, every single thing they do is going to be tracked on the dashboard, okay? And this is all happening without you knowing about it at this point, okay? Buyers are on our website right now, aren't they, that you're not aware of? Wouldn't you say?
Mhm.
And you have no idea. So now we're going to figure out a way to kind of be like I call it a helicopter mom, where you get to watch. So here's what happens. I go into a dashboard as a buyer, and I can see everything that I've done on this website. Well, right now I've done nothing but just set up my account. So now I've decided, I've looked at agents, and I have selected Justin to be my agent. And I know because where the little I is, it's my agent is filled in blue. So now I have selected him as an agent. I have a little bit of a profile for him. I know what his listings are, so I can check that out. And I can actually share that. So what happens now is, see the timeline on the left and the yellow silhouette? That is my activity as a buyer. So I set up my account, and now I've selected Justin as an agent. I can, from this point, I don't have to go anywhere else. And remember, I can do this on a desktop, a tablet, or a phone. So I can view his profile right there. I can look at all the property searches I've done. And if I go down to the bottom, I can add connections. And you think, well, why would a buyer want to add connections? Buyers might want to get feedback from other people about their property searches. So if I were looking for property in Charlotte, which is where I live, my daughter is much more active in real estate there than I am. I just have a tax deduction there because I'm up here with you guys. And so, you know, I would want to know her input. So I would add my daughter as a connection to my buyer account. Does that make sense? If you working with somebody that was a transferee, and say one spouse was working here in Nashville and the other spouse hadn't moved, I might be looking online at properties, and I'd want my spouse to look at it, and vice versa. So this is similar to LinkedIn, where you invite friends, but you're only inviting your close group of friends that are, or people who are going to help you with your buying decision that you want input. Does that make sense? So here's how you add a connection. You're going to hit Add Connection, and when you do, you're going to see this screen. To the left is my account information. So this is how I set up my account, and when I set up my account, I said I was a buyer, okay? Now I can change that anytime and become a buyer and a seller, but right now, as I just started the process, I'm just looking for homes. And then I'm going to add connections, and you'll see where it says your invitees, and here's how it works. So I've invited myself, and I've invited Justin to be in my connections, okay? So then I put here, if you're looking for houses, and the buyer's making these comments, if you're looking for houses, please check out Justin Beavers in the Jackson, Tennessee area. Very detailed, and found me the perfect home, a wonderful experience. So I could add that as a buyer, and then that's going to go, you know, into his connections, and he'll see that. So that's what happens with a buyer. Then they're going to receive an email that says an email has been sent to the individuals that you've invited. So that goes to them however they receive their email, and they have to accept it. This whole process is an opt-in. It's not a mass mailing. Somebody asked me yesterday, well, can you upload your contacts? That's not what this is designed for. I'm a buyer. I don't have a list of contacts that I'm going to upload. I have maybe 4 or 5 people that I want to invite, that I want to hear their opinion about the properties I'm looking at. Does that make sense? So they're going to receive an email and they have to opt in and say, yes, I want to provide an opinion on your buyer search. This is how it works. So yesterday in Murfreesboro, Debbie Bailey invited me to join her network. And so you just say join group and then you're in. And so she can now communicate with you and you can make comments on what she's looking at. So Debbie can now see everything that I'm doing. Justin, when I invited him, could see everything that I'm doing.
Everything? So you can't.
Everything. You cannot do one thing that you can't see as the agent.
If I see that they're looking at this.
And that's the beautiful thing. So let's hold that thought. So Justin goes into his account, and this is going to be something, guys, that you guys are going to want to use. Justin's in his account, and he goes, well, gosh, guess what? I set up this account because I was in class, and Elizabeth told me to do that, and oh my gosh, she selected me as an agent. She's looking for a home, and you guys think this is just a pipe dream? Where's Tim? Who did that yesterday? Lachey?
Oh, no, it was Lachey.
Lachey over in Murfreesboro?
Sure was.
Oh my gosh, you talk about validation.
We were sitting there.
While we were sitting there, she was setting up the account, and she went, oh my God, I have someone who's favored me as an agent. They've selected me as an agent. And I said, you're kidding me. I mean, and it happened right there. So you guys don't know who's been looking at your profile page and who has said they want to do business with you on ColdwellBanker.com, and you won't know until you go in here and set up this account. Okay? So yesterday in class, someone set up the account while we were there, and lo and behold, she had somebody that had selected her as an agent. Now, let me ask you one more question. I'll get you. How do you sign on to this account? Okay, you go to the ColdwellBanker.com site. How do you get logged into it?
Your name. Yeah. Your first and last name.
Your user ID, whatever that is, your first name dot last name at ColdwellBanker.com, and your password. Do you see why I spent time talking about the password? Because you have to have this account to be a helicopter mom. Okay? Now, do you want to know what buyers are out there that want to work with you? Who stood up and said, that's my agent? Is that good for you?
Sure.
Okay. So Justin says, oh gosh, I have a person that wants to work with me, and they could see my inventory of listings when they selected me, so they have an idea of where I do business. So that is Justin. That is the buyer. So we've done the seller side where we can upload pictures, and we've done the buyer side where we can search and we can select an agent. Is everybody clear about those two roles? Okay, so now we're going to do the agent side. So when you go in to create your account, you're going to go to the very same place that we talked about, ColdwellBanker.com. Oh, I'm sorry, and you had a question before I move on.
Yeah, whenever the buyer selects the agent, you also went through and like added them as a contact, but can they see everything if you don't add them, like invite them?
Well, I added them as a contact as a seller.
Okay.
I haven't added them as a contact as the buyer.
So if the buyer goes in and picks you as their agent, you can see everything they do.
Yes. When the buyer selects me as an agent, I can see every single thing they do, and I'm going to show you how that works. So here's what you guys have to do. You go to the very same place, and notice at the bottom, instead of creating an account, always look for, are you an agent? And one thing I've noticed with this site, when you go to log back in, you're automatically going to default because it says this is a consumer site. Okay, so they have in big, bold blocks, enter your user ID and password, skip over that and go to the very bottom because it says, are you an agent? Because you're going to sign in as an agent all the time. So be looking for, are you an agent? Notice how we have it at the bottom. So when you're an agent, here's how you set up your account. You use your Coldwell Banker credentials, your Coldwell Banker email address, and your password. So that's all you're going to have to do. And then you have an account. And now when I log in, I'm logged in as Justin Beavers. Okay? So now I have a dashboard. And Justin is notifying. He has an activity feed. He sees that I have selected him. And so this is a dashboard of somebody who has a lot of activity, just so I can give you a feel for what it will look like after you get involved in this. So for instance, this particular agent has 16 listings. They've had 8 activity feeds. And if you'll look over on the right, you see the icon for buyer, seller, and if they're buyer and seller, then you can also track, hey, there's comments about the properties that I've looked at from my group. I've had this buyer particularly favor a listing that they've searched on coldwellbanker.com. Keep in mind, this is probably going to be your greatest challenge where you're used to working with real tracks all the time. This is only happening within the coldwellbanker.com environment, okay? So it's kind of like 2 separate things that you're doing with a buyer. But the difference is that they're going to have more content-rich experience on the coldwellbanker.com site, okay? So I can do everything from this dashboard as an agent. So this is an agent dashboard that is utilized. So here's Justin. You can update your profile page. Does everybody in this room have a profile page? Raise your hands if you have a profile page. Keep them up so I can see. Okay. Let me tell you this. You cannot go to step 1 without a profile page. You have to have a profile page. It's not optional. Because how can I connect with you if I can't see you? So I'm going to give you 4 bullet points, which are pitiful. Okay? I'm going to give you 4 bullet points, and then you're going to have to find some photo to upload so you can have a profile page. So your bullet points are, you're a member of the National Association of Realtors. You're licensed in the state of Tennessee. You're a member of the Nashville Association of Realtors or whatever, your regional association, and you speak English. Now, isn't that pitiful? And so, but those 4 bullet points will not get you business, but they will get you a profile page if you'll add a photo of some kind to it. So I just want you to have a profile page so you can have an account. You know, but that will get 4 bullet points, so that's it. So from that point, from this dashboard, you don't have to go anywhere else. You can update your profile. So you can change your image if you want to. You can add a video if you want to. You can go down and update your credentials. So you can do all of that right from this one place. So it's kind of like just one step. You don't have to go back and forth between systems. Any questions about that? So my 3 or 4 folks in here that don't have profile pages, when I come back next year, I want to see you have profile pages. Work with Holly. She can do them without even blinking. So then I'm going to recommend properties for this buyer to see because I've seen they selected me, so I want to push out some properties for them. And when you start going and doing a search and you're in your account, you as an agent searching properties, we know that's a consumer site. You're not going to be searching for properties on coldwellbanker.com, so we know you're recommending them to somebody. So you're going to get this pop-up box that says these properties that you select are going to go in what we refer to as a drawer, and here's how they look. They're going to go in the tray down at the bottom under my recommendations, and it could be that you might have this for 2 or 3 buyers that you just got time and you said, I just want to see what's out there, if there's any new content or any updates. And so you're going to select listings, and notice on the right it says I can clear all that out, select it, and I can send it. So when I do that, I'm checking the ones I want to send, and then I hit send recommendations. And notice on my dashboard, I now have 2 recommendations that I've sent. So I'm sending these to whom? Tell me who I'm sending them to. The buyer, correct. So here's how it looks. I'm going to go in, and it says add recipients that I want to send this listing to. So it's predictive type. We're working on Google, the Google platform. So when they start typing my name, if they're going to come up with all the E's. And so you'll see Elizabeth.Gard or Elizabeth Gard at, well, that's actually a wrong, oh, it does have my correct email address on there. I've been confused because I was using my personal account to set this up, and so I kept looking at my Coldwell Banker email to get notifications, and I went, oh, I did this personally. But anyway, so I found her, I'm gonna highlight her, and then I'm gonna hit send, and they'll pop into her box, into her dashboard.
So if we're working with the buyer and we want to put them in as a, you're gonna cover that.
Actually, what I would do, and that's right, where you're doing the connections. Is everybody here working with a buyer? Okay, I would sit them down, remind me of your name, I'm sorry.
Paulette.
Paulette.
I might have a good list for that.
Oh, okay. So I would say, Paulette, I know we've been working together, and Coldwell Banker has the neatest feature, and I want you to take advantage of it. So we're going to sit down, and I'm going to help you set up an account on coldwellbanker.com and show you how it works. And by the way, I want to be your first connection. You have to take control of the situation in a way that they don't feel pressured. So you've shown them value, and you want to help them walk through the process. And so you're going to set their account up for them, which is like 3 steps. And then you're going to say, and I want to be your first connection. You know, so I want to help you. I'm working with you on this process. So I want to know, you know, be able to give you feedback. And you're face to face with them, so they're not going to say no, you know. So you're going to be their first connection, and that's when you get to watch every single thing they do. And you don't have to contact them and say, hey, I saw you were looking at 123 Main Street. I mean, you know, and they know you're on top of them, but you can certainly strategize to where it would be the most effective way to reach them.
Any way to send them an invite from the website?
No, you don't know they're there.
But what if you have a buyer that you're working with? Is there any way to send them an invite?
No, because you're not looking. You're an agent. This is totally opt-in. This is not in their face, pressuring them. They are saying, I want to work with you. So if you have a buyer, what you have to do is sit down with them and set up an account, and they have to invite you into their environment, okay, into their search. So they don't feel that